News from the President of the United States that there has been an attack inside Iran.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years.
All planes are now outside of Iran airspace.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
Again, this from President Donald Trump. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow.
The strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. It will not continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed. Remember, there are many targets left. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight. Not even close.
That's just seconds ago from President Donald Trump on Truth Social.
I wasn't used to such honesty from a politician.
I get along very well with China.
Gavin Newsom's not backing down. He's firing back, tweeting.
Have you looked at Congo, or you could say Serbia, Kosovo, you could say a lot of them.
And it's because, he's like a magician if you think about it.
Get along very well with President Xi. I like him. He likes me. We have a very good relationship.
In this country, we have Pride Month.
Part 2 came the invasion.
Diane, I don't think there's any clear indication of that right now.
It makes it sound like the current president wants to give himself and his advisors time to really consider. I mean, one of the most serious foreign policy decisions a president can make.
Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong. Well, then my intelligence community is wrong.
Part 1 came the warning. Trump came, went, and then returned.
Let's not do that.
Now, I can make fun of those idiots, except I was one of them.
Experts say that all of those airstrikes are essentially in vain, unless the Israelis can also take out the Fordow nuclear site.
It's very hard to stop. I will say this.
They've also hit several nuclear sites, including Natanz, where the Iranians had been enriching uranium.
We have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
But more than right, he saw the future, and it was a 3-part tragedy.
They should give me the Nobel Prize for Rwanda.
We know the talks are ongoing right now in a hotel not far from where I am overlooking Lake Geneva.
I'm right about
People called him racist. He wasn't. He was just right.
Now, we can't read too much into that.
Where did they go?
Is this the biggest decision you'll have to make as president?
Well, I can't tell you that.
The Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings. They do kill you.
I think you would say that Iran is doing less well.
The Europeans are saying, yes, we agree on the red lines. Iran has to denuclearize. It cannot have the ability to build, enrich a nuclear bomb.
It depends what the decision is. You never know about decisions.
The Isfahan nuclear facility was hit for the second time by Israel.
I didn't hear the facts. I only heard the tone.
They might even rename it the Trump Peace Prize.
They've targeted and killed several Iranian nuclear scientists.
ICE was arresting illegal immigrants who were criminals. And so people were upset about it.
If they don't, the risk is that the Iranians will be more motivated to get their hands on a nuclear weapon.
He was just stating the truth everyone else was too afraid to say.
She gave a shocking claim about how black people in our country...
There in L.A., there they were waving flags, demanding independence from the country that they invaded.
Just keep hanging black people.
During that intermission, our country and that fake president we had decomposed before our eyes.
They say that they're there to take people out, but I can't tell you about that.
Former Congressman Matt Gaetz threw out an interesting idea.
That they can expect a decision from him in 2 weeks. That would be under a normal presidency.
I'll tell you in about a year from now, maybe 5 years or 10 years from now.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
The IAEA confirms real damage was done to the centrifuge construction facility.
He's on the wrong side of the courts.
You never really know.
The border was made as tight as Nancy Pelosi's face.
And from the Associated Press, Trump says he'll decide whether U.S. will directly attack Iran within 2 weeks.
We are into now day 9 of the war between Israel and Iran, and there are more raids on key Iranian targets as well as individuals.
Israel's doing well in terms of war. It's a little bit hard to get somebody to stop. It's a tremendous amount of material.
To this day, it's still unclear.
I might, depending on the circumstances.
You could win a Nobel Peace Prize.
It's very hard to stop when you look at it.
And part 3, the separatist revolt.
It's about it being Juneteenth and about how black people in this country now can rise to be a great anchor, or they can be a doctor or a lawyer. And I don't know what Whoopi was talking about.
They can take responsibility for the people that they hire and let them have responsibility.
I've often said that that's something that harkens back to my days in finance.
I do not deserve applause for that, Kat.
When she played Gannon on Star Trek, she actually was a bartender talking to people and meeting them where they live.
He's doing, The View 18 times, rubbing elbows with Whoopi and the Clintons and Al Sharpton. No one did the things that I did. And he wasn't a politician, so he came out.
11,888 murders. Our farmers are great people.
ICE has said that they're trying to arrest up to 3,000 individuals a day.
Those people, you have a lot of criminals. We don't want to hurt people that aren't criminals.
It appears that they left without a full fuel tank, which could indicate that they are, in fact, carrying those bombs on board. He spoke yesterday about that 2-week timeline that he's promised.
Like the women on The View. It's unconscionable.
You can ask that question in 2 weeks, and we'll see. It'll be out in about less than 2 weeks. We have people that we don't want to...
I do not deserve applause, but I'll take it because I'm a sad, needy person.
You said it, not me.
The hard part about this is not like a normal war where people wear uniforms. They got to be very careful with their mouth, because their mouth can get them into a lot of trouble. Tough subject, because look, we have farmers. I love farmers. We have murderers.
How offensive.
I think there should be an easier path for people to come here legally.
That like build a curtain.
That aircraft is the only one that can deploy the much-discussed bunker-busting bombs needed to take out Iran's deeply dug and crucial Fordo nuclear facility.
They keep us happy and healthy and fat.
And then life is death without change. Everybody pivots.
We're going to let the farmers take responsibility. They're great people. They'll do it. But I never want to hurt our farmers. They don't wear uniforms.
We were told not to cooperate with ICE. That's how bad it is.
A lot of it rides on what happens today in Geneva, where we have these talks underway between the British, the Germans, the French, and the Iranians, where they're sharing a French proposal, and where the British are reminding the Iranians there's an American proposal.
And you can also say the leisure business, etc.
When Trump first came down the escalator, did you immediately get it, or were you like me who was like, wait a second?
We're looking at that very closely. We are prisoners.
But, Trump is loved, hated, but never ignored.
And they've lost their lives because of it. Iranians who have stood up to the government, young women in particular, and said, no, I want freedom.
Well, I think bottom line, we don't know.
The White House was very clear yesterday that for the president, a diplomatic solution would be the best option here, and that he is willing to give the time and space right now to see how negotiations could play out.
We have drug lords. At the same time, we have to get the criminals out of our country.
Maybe he read a marketing report that says people move on.
The president is also said to be considering this as a big factor right now in this 2-week window of whether or not U.S. assets are fully in place in the region.
And I'm never going to do anything to hurt our farmers. We can't put the farms out of business.
I want to focus, if I may, on the Congresswoman's remarks that I just found so patently offensive.
The U.S. forces are on their way to the Mideast right now, and this might be the perfect time, actually, to do this type of deal while the U.S. forces are not there.
Maybe it's a tick.
You trust President Putin? In about 2 weeks, there are some businesses where you have a disproportionate amount of people that are the people that you're talking about.
I think a lot of people are in fear their livelihood.
People who want to work, people who want to contribute to the economy.
I won 80%, 85% of the farmers, and I love them.
You're saying you're the Donald Trump of magicians.
Well, you said that.
If you would have gone back 10 years and we'd be sitting here today talking about President Trump 10 years later, I would have been like, get the out of here.
You've had people that have worked on farms for 20 years.
And then he becomes president.
We have stone-cold murders.
And Ellen DeGeneres. We saved astronauts stranded.
Very bad criminals, dangerous criminals.
We sent ventilators around the world during COVID.
But to serious matters.
I'm giving him a period of time, and I would say 2 weeks would be the maximum.
Congress passed a bill that bans child transgender surgeries.
We went and helped them. Sure, he said that, but they really have a very limited capacity.
We rescued hostages.
What, celebrating the army? Yeah. What, protecting Americans? I'm sorry.
Largely, it would have already been destroyed. Certainly, it's been something I've been talking about also. We're going to see what that period of time is.
I'm just not going to spit gold for free.
We had a big victory last night. We put out that fire, and we did a great job of it.
Trump also pushed back on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's comments that Israel is capable of...
The only people fleeing this country are illegal immigrants with criminal records or Rosie O'Donnell. Everyone else is real happy. They essentially turned this super rich guy into a victim of sorts and the underdog of sorts.
The fourth night, nobody bothered even coming. Between his fires, if there's an attack, we'll know almost immediately with modern equipment who made the attack. And those people will be very, very unhappy.
There is no sign that this war is de-escalating, even while those talks continue here in Geneva.
I didn't say much because I didn't get paid then. So,
I'm not always a peacemaker.
Over the next 2 weeks.
And it doesn't have to be today. It can be tomorrow. And it can be in 2 weeks from now. He sued us for going in and for helping him.
It was the height of some of this cancel culture of you say the wrong thing and then you're a bad person.
We're going to be announcing something, I would say, over the next 2 or 3 weeks.
I'll be making a big decision on the Paris Accord over the next 2 weeks. We'll have to see what happens. Maybe it won't be necessary. Maybe it won't be necessary. That doesn't mean sometimes you need some toughness to make peace, but always a peacemaker.
But Stephen Miller said to go out and arrest every person who's here illegally. He's told ICE to arrest everyone who's here illegally.
Stephen and I have a very good understanding. He's a terrific person. The last thing you want to do is ground.
They did this world propaganda to make him worse than one of the actual worst people in the world, feeling-wise.
Steve Bannon was there from day one.
The second night was much better, between all the houses burning down.
So if they're going to go to the table, they're going to try to negotiate.
Well, I'm not going to talk about ground forces.
The worst part is you made me carry you through the door on the first show.
This element of surprise is part of how the president operates.
That was refreshing that a guy who cussed before he ran for president, all of a sudden he runs, now he's Jesus' best friend. Yeah. No, President Trump told you like it was.
We should start focusing on criminals, and that's what we've been focused on.
We have law enforcement not supporting law enforcement.
You had that genius liberal talking guy on the wall.
The talking wall.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Don't go in, don't go in, don't go in. If you're going to go in, keep the oil.
Is he weighing these types of options at his disposal?
As we understand it, yes.
Trump promised to produce Barack Obama's birth certificate in 2 weeks. It's been 10 years. Still waiting.
We are coming out with that plan in 2 weeks.
Gabbard responded on X, writing in part, quote, "The dishonest media is intentionally taking my testimony out of context and spreading fake news."
A country where Gavin Newsom, who's really an incompetent governor, will be reporting back sometime over the next 2 weeks. You'll be seeing that over the next 2 weeks. They can break through a little section, but they can't go down very deep. We have a great understanding.
Every one of us has a mistake or something in our past. He didn't run from it. He didn't try to hide it. The thing was a wizard. He was an actual monster.
I'm giving him a period of time, and I would say 2 weeks would be the maximum.
It was very easy when he says, "I'm going to come get you."
The third night was nothing much. The sheriff admitted it. He had no control. He would have lost control. I want to get you people out of danger. You're in danger standing with me.
One more.
They made him the boogeyman, and they believe him, so they left. So in a way, they get credit. They created the monster.
I think they should do that. I don't think we should, but I think they should. They were either good negotiators or they weren't doing the right thing. It's one thing for certain countries to say, hey,
an actress on Star Trek The Next Generation, where her character was based off this planet in space with aliens.
I've never seen a governor so disinterested in being governor while being governor.
I want to try to be kind because my expectation for Whoopi Goldberg is lower. Well, it's 2025. I don't know if she knows that.
But at the same time, they're saying, you know, military action itself might not, even with the US participation, if that eventuality does actually materialize, might not solve the issue of Iran's nuclear program, might not destroy all of the nuclear sites.
Talking about being too politically correct and all of these things. It's statements like that that confirm my belief that hair products cause dementia.
Found a pattern of shooting people intentionally in the eye.
It was that they hate all of you.
Tehran has had less success with these relatively slow-moving projectiles.
They're like, oh, God, I'm sorry. And he just won't break.
We're always concerned about that. I should have gotten it 4 or 5 times. We have to take them out and be very strong. You know, they're sitting on the top of one of the largest piles of oil in the world. You're talking to me right now. So I should probably get out of here.
Not even a liberal Ninth Circuit Court is going to take his side.
Nearly 1 million people have already self-deported. They can't scream empathy when they lack none for missing exploited kids or the rape and murder of victims of illegals.
We recognize the emancipation from slavery, Texas, the last state.
Like the John McCain thing. He survived that.
Yeah.
That was a big one. And people are like, oh, it's going to hurt him. It didn't hurt him.
Do you know that? You are in danger.
They were scheduled to meet last week in Oman. The Iranians canceled that talk because of the Israeli strikes.
Apparently, they killed people with shotguns, assault rifles, submachine guns.
You're even in danger talking to me right now.
Democrats never understood why people liked him.
He's dropped more pounds than Prince Andrew at a strip club. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA.
We're going to see, and people have to be very careful with what they say.
And another assassination by Israel. Saeed Izzadi, a Revolutionary Guard commander who played a key role in the deadly October 7 Hamas attack against Israel, was taken out.
Are we talking about just attacks on our forces in the Middle East?
They won't give me a Nobel Peace Prize because they only give it to liberals.
Lindsey Graham and Mike Pompeo were there on the ground in Ukraine, seemingly doing the opposite, trying to provoke the Ukrainians.
It's not a crazy thing to expect.
I'll get to it in 2 weeks, is one of Donald Trump's absolute favorite tactics. He literally uses it all the time.
Are we talking about perhaps terrorist attacks in major American cities?
It reminds me of the story about a man who did CPR on a crash victim.
The US does, with huge bunker buster bombs and the B-2 bombers that can deliver them.
You know who else was a low payer, just about the lowest? A place called Canada. You guys are actually in danger. Can you believe it?
Mahmoud Khalil may soon be a free man.
I think personally I was jealous.
Karen, how critical could these talks be to President Trump's decision on whether or not the U.S. should strike Iran?
They're a part of that decision, Diane.
We're going to be sending letters out in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. The big one is India and Pakistan.
Holly, Iran has warned of retaliation.
I'll do this at some point over the next 2 weeks. I'll announce it over the next 2 weeks. I'll tell you about that in a month from now or 2 weeks from now.
He's already done this at least 10 times in the 6 months since he took office. 10 times.
They didn't understand that there wasn't a bunch of dummies who don't know anything.
Within 2 weeks, I could answer that question better in 2 weeks. It's a little bit hard to see why you did that. Yeah.
But on Juneteenth, excuse me.
The problem with the Fordow site is that it's not just underground, it's actually buried inside a mountain.
Spain has been notorious for low pay. I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. Spain's been a very low payer. They were always a very low payer. I want to have a certain amount where I can go nuclear a little bit.
The Columbia University graduate student has been held in a Louisiana detention facility for more than 3 months now.
We know that this has been an ongoing battle between Khalil and the U.S. government.
I just don't know why they need that for civilian work.
And the IDF claims to have shot down nearly all 40 Iranian drones headed towards Israel this morning.
I think Spain has to pay what everybody else has to pay because we need it for electricity, we need it for air conditioners, etc.
Like a failed dictator with a military parade.
President Trump says he will decide within the next 2 weeks if he'll order U.S. forces to strike nuclear sites.
We did a very great job with India and Pakistan.
foreign ministers from France, Germany, Great Britain, and the EU are in Geneva for peace talks with Iran's foreign minister.
But it turns out they were the ones wearing red noses, giant shoes, and shoveling elephant.
So Rwanda, a long-term war with the Congo, a very bloody war. They're all bloody.
We never heard someone state our problems so clearly.
Our president spending millions of dollars propping himself up.
We have Israel, and nobody really knows what that one is all about, but this was a really bloody one.
A billionaire vanity candidate taking the escalator to the White House.
I think it's very hard to make that request right now. If somebody's winning.
I have a huge amount of respect for the media, but a number of the nation's largest newspapers made an age-old mistake today.
For most of the world, America stands for freedom.
It's a beautiful thing to watch, just a time to see whether or not people come to their senses.
He wasn't like the old politicians.
We better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket.
So, Holly, the president says he's going to make a decision on whether or not to strike
Russia, Ukraine, which is making a little bit of progress.
The Middle East, where Israel and Iran are trading new attacks.
I don't say this lightly.
The B-2 can carry 2 15-ton bunker buster bombs that could be used to target Iran's heavily fortified Fordo nuclear site.
We're going to find out pretty soon, I guess. Iran doesn't want to speak to Europe. They want to speak to us. Serbia, Kosovo, likewise. They've been fighting for years. That was somewhat pre-nuclear. You know, it was
one of the worst countries in the world. Yeah, that's why millions came across the border.
From the Washington Post, Trump says he'll decide on Iran strike within 2 weeks.
Did Europeans help at all in talking with the Iranians?
No, they didn't help, no.
Sure, he'd call Rosie O'Donnell a dog, but he wouldn't eat one or strap one to a car.
It's a little bit harder to do than if somebody's losing.
They took the words of the Trump administration at face value and spit them right back out to the American public without context, without much of anything.
They really were unanimous in deciding this.
When the media saw it, they deemed him a clown.
We've stopped a very vicious war.
Like those two guys, in case you don't remember.
Open source plane spotters show 6 B-2 stealth bombers from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri appearing to head toward a U.S. Air Force base in Guam.
Good morning, Vlad.
This is a second U.S. aircraft carrier will arrive in the Middle East this weekend. President Trump will return later today to the White House for an intelligence briefing.
The military are in our streets without any regard for people's constitutional rights.
We're going to be making a trade deal with India. And we had Pakistan. There were no weapons of mass destruction. I never thought there were.
And the IDF says Iran fired 20 missiles in its latest attack.
Congo will be doing a peace settlement. Probably.
It's a place that other countries look up to.
20 years ago, you were skeptical of a Republican administration.
It may be the most monumental TV moment ever.
Meanwhile, Iran's Ministry of Health says Israel targeted a third hospital overnight, a day after Iran hit a hospital in Israel.
This is what he felt as though maybe he could have done better in his last term when things went crazy after the George Floyd.
The president has set a 2-week timeline to let diplomacy play out.
It was an honor for me to be involved.
If you thought that was extreme, you won't believe this, or maybe you will because it happened.
I want to thank J.D. Vance for a great job.
Here's one from the Wall Street Journal. Trump's Iran decision to come within 2 weeks.
We didn't know it, but on that day, politics changed forever.
This is a very liberal court, mind you.
Going to be making peace with Congo.
It's like I can't tell if this is politics.
Trump was blunt, harsh even.
A couple of big ones. There was a nuclear age, but nothing like it is today.
The destruction of Iran's nuclear program was really the justification for Israel's attack.
President Donald Trump putting out on Truth Social, we have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. This is a huge moment in that President Donald Trump has authorized and the U.S. military has just pulled off strikes inside Iran at 3 different nuclear sites, Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan.
This has been the talk of Israel for the past several days as the country waited to see if the Americans would get directly involved in the conflict. Rumors, Trump gave the word, supposed to be happening now. The concern was that the Iranian regime was just weeks away from being able to build a nuclear bomb. And again, an opportunity for the region, as the president laid out in his statement, for peace in the future, because this is a region that understands peace through strength. Brett.
Yes, that's definitely true. Trey, stand by.
And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much.